Good morning. How are you today? Good, good. Welcome to Introduction to Psychology. So today we are going to keep talking about personality, which is chapter 12. And I want to remind you, this Friday, you're going to take exam 4. We are almost done this semester. I cannot believe it. It's almost done, right? Yeah. So we have about, maybe one month left. Yeah. So this Friday, after we finish this chapter 12, we are going to take exam 4. It will be cover chapter 10, 11, and 12. Yeah, there's a study guide so you can study. And also you need to, have you ever done MBTI test? Yeah, several of you. Yeah, which is good because this Thursday is due of your MBTI test. So through Blackboard, please report to your MBTI test. And we are going to talk today or maybe this Thursday. So it will be fun activity, even though it's a test, but those are personality tests. So it's not that hard at all. So it will be interesting test. So this Thursday is due of your in-class assignment 3, yeah, which is 20 points, MBTI test. So please post to yours and then respond to one of the classmates. Okay, and so you will get 20 points. And this Friday, we are going to take exam 4, covering chapter 10, 11, 12. Good? Okay, yeah. And our final exam will be during the final week, which is May, I guess, the 6th and 7th that week. It will be Tuesday, I think, but I will make sure about and kind of let you know again. Okay, so we talk about who are you and describe yourself using some adjectives. We kind of, finish those. I just kind of remind you where we are. And now we can talk about biological contributions to personality. So maybe as an opening, think about, is any your personality characteristic? It's really close to resembling your mom or dad, your grandma and grandpa. Yeah, so talk together who is next to you. Maybe I'm going to open that conversation with you. So maybe you're very shy and very talkative and maybe reserved and any your personality is just like your dad, just like your mom. So talk together who is next to you. Okay, good. Okay, anybody would you like to share a little bit about your personality? It's maybe this is really exactly just like my dad, or maybe exactly this is like just my mom, or maybe grandma and grandpa, or anything you feel like that characteristic and your personality it's really like your parents or maybe grandparents, maybe genetic element is there. Anybody, if you don't mind? If you're kind of funny characteristic and more humorous and or very shy and maybe talkative and outgoing. Anything else? Yeah? Not really? It was more like your environmental factors later on, maybe meeting your friends and maybe teachers and working together with somebody else. You feel like more kind of shape your personality? Yeah. So talk together who is next to you right now. So is there anything you obviously, maybe comparing to other my personality, this one is more from nurture side, which is like environment. Maybe later on I developed those resilient personality, or optimistic personality, yeah, positive personality, or negative personality. So anything, maybe talk together who is next here. Probably this personality from me is more like influenced by environment, like later on, like a nurture. Yeah, talk together who is next to you. Okay, so we can talk together. Yes. Yeah, if you can work together, they would be perfect. Thank you so much. Abigail, right? If you don't mind, today can be partner with Kim right there, sitting there. Yeah, they would be good. Thank you. Yay! Okay, maybe we can talk together, yeah? Anything would you like to share? I think maybe my personality, this one is particularly from, for sure, maybe outside, like not genetic element. Maybe it's more like later on, I developed this personality because I was meeting my best friend, maybe one teacher, or maybe taking classes, and anything like environmental factors kind of influence you, like shaping your personality. Yeah? Anybody? So, I mean, I know you talked a lot and discussed a lot, so that means you have those personality, right? More genetic element versus outside, more like nurturing and later on, and those environmental factors. So, do you feel like this is kind of interesting? Maybe person's personality is shaped maybe from genetic kind of an element from your parents, and also later on. Yeah, meeting your friends and maybe living in certain area. Particularly, you develop a certain personality. So if you're really into that subject, behavior genetics, those are study area you can kind of dig into and get some more information. But people say there are genetic elements. So maybe there are two twins, yeah? Twins, they are genetically same, identical twins, and fraternal twins, like half kind of twins, So thinking about that, they may have a very similar personality. Have you ever met like twins before in your life? Yeah. Do they have a pretty much similar personality or maybe not exactly? Not exactly, yeah. So it's really depending on, but we can kind of compare maybe as identical twins who are born with the same DNA, but raised into different household. Somehow when they just kind of born, they adopted into different family, right? So environment is totally different, and we want to try to compare their personality. So try to see, is there like their personality is more genetic element, or maybe more like a nurture outside. So it will be interesting study. So today is the day we are going to talk about psychodynamic theory, Freud. Yeah, today is the day we are going to talk about Freud and his stage development. So psychodynamic theory of personality is we ideally need to thinking about those elements of unconsciousness and importance of the early childhood period. And he truly believed our personality will be shaped maybe when we become age 4 and 5. Everything is already done. But I know why he kind of insists in that way, and thinking about like a baby is just born and going through toddler stages and early childhood, so many things, yeah, maybe receive those information from their parents and also environment and other people, right? And also like a genetic element too. But I do believe we do develop, maybe further personality later on too, right? But pretty much, Freud really thinks everybody's personality is determined, like a shaped until early childhood. Do you kind of see, like a little agree with that? Because those are so much important period, kind of growing and growing, developing stages wise, right? So we will talk about unconsciousness today, divided by those three groups. So unconscious mind, it's a level of mind, our thoughts and feeling and maybe memories. It's something there, but it's not easily expressed fully in reality. Maybe some revenge going on, some anger issues, and maybe certain biological maybe need in deep inside of you, and maybe it will show more like that kind of personality structures right here. So ego, super ego, and id. But before we go there, we want to talk a little bit about Freudian slips. Have you ever maybe make a mistake? Maybe you don't want to say maybe certain person's name, but accidentally kind of say that person's name. So let's say you were dating with maybe your girlfriend, yeah, maybe her name was Jennifer, yeah, and then you kind of been having those relationship for maybe 5 years, and then recently you met a new girl, maybe her name was Cindy. Yeah, but when you are very drunken and kind of relaxed, and somehow you call Cindy, new girlfriend, as a Jennifer. Those like maybe accidentally kind of speak up, kind of said certain words based on his theory. Freudian slip, verbal or behavior mistake that reveal unconscious thought or maybe wishes. Maybe still, maybe in his heart, maybe Jennifer was his girlfriend still, because Cindy was recently met. It's really depending on how we interpret, but Freudian slip is maybe accidentally we say certain words, maybe behave, but maybe that's not accident. Maybe deep is our heart and mind, it's there, and then expressed suddenly, maybe not in an appropriate situation. So those are Freudian slip. So we can think about unconsciousness more and more. So here, so structure of personality, Freud believes, based on his psychodynamic theory, we do develop personality starting from young age, when you are born, an infant, early childhood, middle childhood, and adult. Yeah, we do develop personality starting from very early age, but there are three elements kind of forming those structure. So id, if you're thinking about this, my figure, yeah, I brought my toy. This is like a id. Those are more like a animal-like structure, which is like a part of our mind. Yeah, I'm hungry. Please give me bread right now. Yeah, so it's more like a biological needs, right? And you really want to have food right now. So as you eat, kind of keep insisting to you, please bring me food, I'm hungry. So most like a primal and biological base our impulse and our instincts, and usually relating with our sex and aggression. So he believes those are sexual libido is maybe focusing on our mouth and anal stages and phallic stages and genital stages. So depending on those sexual libido and energy, he divides by those stages, right? So it is more like a pleasure principle. I'm hungry. Please give me bread, no matter what. Those are like it. And I brought my figure. This is like my angel. So super ego. No. Stealing is not, maybe even like a stealing bread, please give me right now. Those are more like a eat. And super ego say, no, that's not right. Stealing is not right. You need to work hard and make money and buy bread. Yeah, those are more like a super ego, so morality. So always whenever you make a decision, maybe in your eat, maybe I'm gonna maybe grab that food because nobody's watching me. Maybe I can kind of grab and run away. Yeah, maybe id is there, right? But at the same time, your superego kind of keeps saying and reminds you, that's not right. Sarah, don't do that. You may caught by police and you will be in jail and it's a big tragedy, right? So don't do that. Those are superego, similar to like a conscience. So don't do that. That's not right thing to do in this world. So as a human being, which is you, this is my RSCU woman. So ego, it's a part of mind. You need to make a decision between id, stealing is okay even, please give me bread right now, eat, versus there's a superego, no, stealing is bad. You should work hard and make money and buy bread. So you need to make a balance between eat and superego. Have you ever had those experiences? You need to make a decision or make a balance between your id and superego. Anybody? Yeah, we do always constantly we need to make a balance and making a decision because sometimes we really want to follow our id, our instinct, right? But superego kind of reminds you that's not right thing to do. Sarah, think one more time and then you need to make a wide decision. So ego, you need to make a good decision, make a good balance. Yeah, those are basically a structure of a personality, and we, including me, try to make a good decision and make a good balance living in this world. So here. So defense mechanism is, as an ego, you need to make a decision. And this is like a real situation. So example will be projection, reaction formation, displacement, and sublimation. There are other defense mechanisms, but maybe I want to focusing on those and explain to you. So projection, what does that mean? Projection means your id, you want to cheat on your partner. Maybe you met somebody else and you like that person, but you're already married. Yeah. But projection is you kind of project your situation. Maybe your partner is trying to cheat you instead of you are cheating your partner. So kind of project the situation, putting your partner in that situation, not you putting in that situation. So that's more like a ego and try to deal those dilemma. So next one is reaction formation. Your best friend. I mean, you can tell you have several best friends, I know, right? And some of the best friends, you really want to solely support that person. And no matter of what, you really like that person's accomplishment and cheer that person. Versus, I know you have a best friend, but I'm kind of jealous that person. Yeah, I mean, we have a good friendship, but still, yeah, whenever he or maybe she does, maybe I kind of, good job, I really proud of you. But at the same time, maybe she's not that deserving that one. Because, can you tell, maybe you have several best friends and you solely kind of, like a support versus little kind of jealous and envy going on. Yeah, so more like a reaction formation is your best friend recently bought a new house, huge house. I mean, you live in like a tiny house, and I know it's your best friend, but kind of jealous of that person, and maybe something wrong. Maybe that big house is something wrong. Yeah, maybe it can be burned because it's really wind is really heavy and it can be maybe burn down that house. But instead of thinking and thinking those bad thoughts, you bought a big housewarming gift and try to give your friend, and here you go, this is my heart and congratulations, you move into like a big house, right? So those are like a reaction formation. And displacement, thinking about that, the real situation is your boss yelled at you, Sarah, you did something wrong. It's a really huge loss for our company. How could you do that? Make a wrong decision. Yeah. So deep is my heart. Maybe I'm so angry and mad and kind of embarrassed, right? Because of my boss, right? But my ego make a good decision. So my id will be embarrassment and angry and yelling back to my boss, right? But my superego kind of keeps saying, Sarah, in order to keep your job, you need to be nice to your boss, right? So as an ego, you need to make a decision. Okay, I cannot yell back to my boss, but I can yell back to my puppy. I can yell back to my cat because those are animals, right? So instead of kind of yelling back and fighting back to your boss, you're gonna do maybe yelling at, maybe kick your maybe puppy, and you can do those things. So those are more like a displacement. So those are defense mechanism. As an ego, try to make a good balance to the situation, because inside of you, it is always, yeah, go for it, fight for that, yeah. Maybe say bad words, yeah. But superego always reminds you, no, you shouldn't do that. If you don't want to lose job, keep kind of nice to your boss, right? So those are superego. So last one is sublimation. I know some people, they're really aggressive, starting from very early age. Very aggressive when anger issue is going on, and they really like to fight. Yeah. So sublimation can be, if you are that kind of person, the good solution is you become a professional boxer, and then you fight for your living. Yeah, in the sense you have lots of fans and they really love you, and then you really enjoy fighting against somebody else, right? So those are sublimation. We do have those situations and try to make a good decision, and then making a balanced light between it and superego. So your ego right here. This is it, like kind of makes sense. He tried to make a theory. I know he got lots of critics too, but still many portion of the theory is kind of relating with a good theory to cure psychological disorder too. So we will learn about his theory, more dig into. So there are 5 different stages, psychosexual stage of development. So I'm going to explain one by one. So oral stages and anal stages and phallic stages, latency stages, and genital stages. So according to his theory, he divided into 5 different stages. It's more like depending on the age range, yeah. So fixation means it should result in personality traits. You are very stingy, you are very stubborn, you are very lavish. Because of those dealing, you make a good decision or not. As an ego, between id and superego, you may have those fixation stuck into that characteristic or personality. So result in personality traits and behavior associated with that earlier stage. So thinking about that, oral stages, maybe I will show the picture here. Oral stages. If you're thinking about oral stages based on his theory, all the sexual libido and energy will be put on your mouth. So thinking about a newborn baby, they put everything into their mouth. Yeah, they put their thumb into their mouth, and all the maybe some like any object putting into their mouth, their toys, yeah, putting into their mouth, and their body is really flexible. Yeah, newborn baby, they're very flexible and they have a very short torso too. So they kind of put their foot into their mouth, and exploration is going on. Yeah, those are oral stages. Yeah, imagine maybe their mom feed them too long, having those breastfeed or maybe bottle feed too long. Maybe it's too long. Maybe they need to finish it, maybe having some solid food, but they kind of feed too much, yeah. And then maybe feed into like a fixation. So still, maybe that person developing those personality, those nail, yeah, kind of sucking motion, or maybe thumb sucking motion, and nail biting, yeah. Those maybe smoking, using their hand and kind of putting into their mouth. Those are like a fixation. Based on his theory, if you do have too much or maybe too less, maybe as a baby you need to have enough milk, yeah, but you didn't have those enough breast milk or maybe formula at the stages, you may kind of put it into fixation. So developing those habit or those personality. I think that's interesting, but it's basically his theory is like that. So I will go one by one, everything. Order stages, like age-wise, birth to 18 months. And anal stages, if you're thinking about toddler, like 18 months through 3 years, 36 months, go to having, go to a restroom and having like a hold and release and hold, release. That's really important, relating with your autonomy. Yeah. So as a human being, you are born and you cognitively notice you can control your body. You can control your body. That's really big thing for the young child. Yeah. So he kind of put that as a anal stages. All the libido and sexual energy will be around those, anus. So those are anal stages. And next stage is phallic stages, like age-wise 3 to 6, and latency-wise elementary school, and genital is our stages, puberty and beyond. I'm gonna go one by one, very detailed information, but those are like an age range, yeah? So thinking about that, age 3 to 6, which is early childhood. They are very curious about everything, early childhood. Do you remember when you go to start like a preschool or maybe daycare? Yeah, you are very curious and try to touch and initiate all different kind of behavior. Yeah, sometimes you try to fly, and then you fell down and broke your arm. You're very curious, right? And at the same time, you're very curious about your personal part too. And they kind of compare as a boy and girl, gender development kind of more intensify when you're kind of going through early childhood too. And also, as a boy, when you are in age 3 and 6, Freud thinks Oedipus complex may kind of show. So as a boy, you love your mom so much. Maybe a very close relationship between you and your mom. And you realize your mom has your daddy as a partner, right? And you are kind of disappointed because you love your mom so much, but your mom is already married. That's your daddy. Yeah, so kind of jealous is going on. But at the same time, age 4, moral development is developing more clearly, age 4 as a child, and kind of keep remind you, jealousy is not appropriate for your daddy. I know you love your daddy too, right? So instead of jealous, you try to make a decision as an ego. I want to be like my daddy. My daddy is strong and I love my daddy too. Yeah, so instead of jealous and going to in that direction, you try to kind of admit who you are and you want to be like your daddy. So those are Oedipus complex. If it just happened to the girl, it's an Electra complex. So as a girl, people say like a daddy's girl and daddy's girl. Anybody you used to be like a daddy's girl, you have a very special relationship with you and your dad. Yeah, so Electra complex is just like the same as a girl, as a daughter, you love your dad so much. Very special relationship, right? And you realize, right next to your daddy, always your mom. So I know you love your mom, but you're really jealous of your mom too because, I want to marry my daddy, but, my daddy is already married my mom, right? So those are Electra complex will happen. That's what Freud assumed. And he got lots of critics on those, right? But that's his theory, so I just kind of explain his theory. And later on, when you become elementary school, you don't need to think about too much like a sexual libido and energy. You are so busy. You may begin to t-ball, basketball, soccer, and gymnastics, right? Those are latency. Not much like a sexual libido is there, kind of taking a break. Latency. So elementary school whole year, you are busy to learn so many other subjects. So after elementary school, you become a junior high and high school, go back to like a genital stages. You really want to have a boyfriend and girlfriend and explore and learn about opposite sex and gender. So it will be more kind of blossom in that area. So here, puberty and beyond, that means including us. Yeah, so we are seeking, that's our stage too, like early adulthood. Yeah, we are looking for your boyfriend and girlfriend and hopefully maybe you want to find your maybe wife and husband. Yeah, so that's kind of part of his theory. Do you feel like his theory is kind of makes sense? Yeah, a little bit, or it doesn't make sense to me. So we can make a judge. Yeah, so I will go one by one. This is like a big picture. Yeah, pretty much I explained here, but I will go one by one here. So order stages, order stage of development. Yeah, we are thinking about that baby, newborn baby. And he believed when you are born, starting from when you are born, id is there. It is there, jealous and aggression and sexual those desire, those very id and instincts will be there. Yeah. So as a baby, birth to 18 months, focusing on those feeding behavior, you really having some pleasure in time, like a satisfaction is going on, exploration, everything putting into your mouth. That's why he kind of named order stages. I think it makes sense because whenever I see the babies, they explore a lot, putting everything into their mouth, like order stages, yeah. And anal stages, 18 months to 3 years old. So one more time, toilet training. You can control your body, hold your urine and release. And that's really fun things to do for a little child. Little infant, they have their own ability to control their body. It's really amazing moment. So anal stages of development, 18 months to 3 years old. But thinking about that as a parent, you want to maybe help your child toilet training. So maybe think about your stages. Do you still remember your parents tried to teach you maybe toilet training? Anybody? Maybe buying some special maybe treat or some device and putting maybe onto top of those toilet bowl, yeah, and then maybe try to train you, right? So if your parents pushing too early, maybe a child is not ready at all. Just maybe using diapers and kind of enjoy and don't need to train anything else, not yet. But as your parents, kind of pushing too early to do like a toilet training. And whenever you make a mistake, maybe they kind of mad at you. Mad at me means, oh, you make another mistake? Yeah, you have a toilet right here, so go there and then try again. Yeah, maybe it can be too stressful. Yeah, and giving you fixation. So fixation means it can happen either too much, too early, you try to train your kids like a toilet training, versus too late. So your child is already ready. But I guess maybe after 3 years old even, yeah, and maybe begin to like a toilet training. It can be too late, like become lazy. Those fixation can be lazy fixation. So personality-wise, how you get treated from your parents and going through those your ages, if you have like a too much and too less, you may have those experience fixation. And fixation can be part of your personality. So here, example of a fixation will be anal expressive personality. It's a person fixated in the anal stage who is messy, destructive, and hostile, and very, very laid back, which is maybe toilet training was too late. It was happening too late. We need to have a right kind of moment, but it was too late. But the other side is anal retentive personality, a person fixated in the anal stage who is neat, fussy, stingy, and stubborn. Maybe it happened too early. Their parents kind of pushing that person toilet training too early, maybe ending up stubborn, maybe stingy, and maybe fussy, and very neat freak. Yeah, it can be. Anybody you are really neat and everything is like a little kind of tiny dust and I cannot stand it. Based on his theory, probably when you kind of going through the second stage, yeah, anal stages, toilet training can be maybe happen too early, kind of too pushed out. And you have a nervous about maybe what if I make a mistake and developing those personality. So that's the example of fixation. So let's go phallic stages. Yeah, one more thing is here, those are early childhood. And Freud believes early childhood is really important. Every personality will be almost like a finished, like a formed when you become age 4 and 5. So he truly believed early childhood is really important period to develop our personality and development. So here, Oedipus complex and Electra complex. I explained to you already. So as a boy, if you have a special attraction toward the opposite sex, which is your mom usually, yeah. So you may develop those special feeling. And then at the same time, age 4, you have a morality is developing too. And you realize that's not right things to do. I know you love your daddy too. So instead of jealous and try to harm your daddy, you really want to be like your daddy. I want to be like my daddy. So those are more like identification. So here, more like resolving those conflict through identification. I'm a boy. I want to be like my daddy growing up, just like my strong daddy. Yeah, those are Oedipus complex. If it happened to the daughter, we call it Electra complex. But based on the theory and research is done, Oedipus complex is more commonly shown comparing to Electra complex. So yeah, we will talk more about later on too, because those theory with better kind of learn thoroughly, those theory will be show again our psychological disorder. Psychological disorder, identify psychological disorder, and also a therapy session, we will talk also about Freudian psychoanalytic perspective. So if we know more thoroughly, that would be good. So here, latency stages, I told you, elementary school, you're so busy. You need to learn social science, and mathematics, and language, and art, and maybe gymnastics, right? You don't need to too much focusing on your sexual libido, onto the mouth, maybe anus, or maybe phallic stages. You're just kind of free, more like a latency. So take a break, which is like elementary school. And genital stage, puberty, on ahead, beyond, which is us, including us. We are looking for our right person. Yeah, I want to have a special relationship with my boyfriend and girlfriend and my future spouse. Yeah, so based on his theory, we are still looking for, we are in genital stages. We are in genital stage, which is puberty and beyond. So you feel like, is it kind of makes sense? Freudian psychodynamic perspective, analytic personality. Those are like a little make sense? Yeah, couple of you? Yeah. How about, I don't think it doesn't make sense. Maybe I don't agree. But I do see, older stages and couple of maybe going through as a, girl. I really love my daddy too. I jealous sometimes, yeah, my mom, and I try to hold my daddy's hands, and I kind of cut my mom's hand. But I didn't think about I hate or maybe jealous of my mom too much. I love my mom too. So kind of ending up, I want to be like my mama. Yeah. So I do see like a little bit of here and there. His theory is really interesting. So that's the psychoanalytic perspective of personality. So he truly believes those are three big structures for the personality forming: id, remember id, and superego, and ego. So you try to make a good balance in this world. Yeah. So that was an interesting theory. Let's go to the next theory. So we are keep talking about personality, how and why we become that person, very stingy, how we become so stubborn. Maybe fixation was happening. Yeah, based on his Freud perspective. Next theory is Carl Rogers' humanistic theory of personality. I know you really like the humanism, like a humanistic perspective. They truly believe our human beings, we have a purpose of a life, and all of us, we try to do our best to reach our goal, kind of fulfill of our destiny and our purpose of the life. Yeah, so really value and emphasize our inherent tendencies toward healthy and very positive growth and self-fulfillment. So it can be like a little opposite side of Freud's like a psychodynamic theory, because Freud's psychodynamic theory is really focusing on those are sexual libido, aggression, maybe some anger issues, like deepest our heart, like a unconscious level, right? Kind of revenge to somebody else and kind of hurtful feeling, kind of in an unconscious level, because those things cannot be easily shown, maybe expressed in reality. So focusing on those more like unconsciousness thing, but Carl Rogers more focusing on positive side of human beings. We are all good and try to do our best and put our all the effort to fulfill our destiny of our life. Yeah. So we will talk more about his theory, underlying self-actualization. So positive regard and conditions of worth. So positive regard, if you're thinking about positive regard, we can talk together. Warmth and acceptance and love. Do you have anybody in your mind, no matter what? I know you can get A or maybe C or F, maybe for the class, but no matter what, that person will support me, and that person will love me, and that person will trust me. Or maybe something happened to you, and maybe you are in that situation, nobody kind of trusts you. How did you do that? How could you do that as a human being? But even though in that situation, I have a person in my mind, that person will trust me and then believe in me and take care of me. Do you have that person in your mind? Yeah. So it can be best friend or maybe your family. Yeah. So talk together who is next to you. Do you have anybody giving you positive regard no matter what situation? So talk together who is next to you. Okay? Okay, maybe we can talk together. This is really important issues and talk, maybe conversation topics. So anybody, I have that person in my mind. Yeah, okay, good, good, good. If you don't mind, can you share who is that person? Yes?
My sister.
Your sister, which is good. Yeah, you can kind of talk everything and anything, and she will listen to you and give you some good advice to you. Okay, good. That's a really good feeling. How about Abigail?
My mom.
Your mom, yeah, no matter what, if I kind of tell my mom, she will understand. She will understand. Okay, very good. Anybody? Would you like to share if you have that person in your mind? Yeah? Gabe, yeah? Your dad, which is really awesome. Yeah, so you have a very close relationship with your dad, and no matter what, my dad will support me and trust me. Yes, very good, very good. So based on his theory, positive regard is really essential things to form personality. Yeah, make you who you are. There should be that person, maybe environment, solely, fully support you, no matter what. Something will kind of happen if you have those, conditions of worth. You know what? If you get A, you are my proud son. If you got F, you are not. So those are conditions, right? Yeah. So depending on what that person kind of did or not, the value and those self-worth will be changed, that's not a good way to form our personality. So there should be like a consistent support and love, and ideally, the person will have more positive personality. So let's do other activities here. Real self and ideal self. I cannot draw here because I could not find a mark there. But make up two big circles. If you need a paper, I can give you here too. So thinking about who you are, real self, right now, maybe you can kind of thinking about my major and maybe my, maybe RSU students and maybe I'm working, yeah. So your real self right here, I have two best friends. Real self is right here. Maybe I'm working here, maybe some convenience store, but ideal self, ideally I want to be a nurse. Ideally, maybe I want to be a teacher. So real self and ideal self. And maybe there should be like some, at the same time, those, the same kind of portion too. So ideal self and real self and ideal self and overlapping area. So, I mean, some of you feel like, oh, if I kind of draw real self and ideal self, it's the same. My circle is the same. Real self and ideal self, right? Versus there's some like a little gap. Yeah, maybe real self is here, but ideal self is right there. But this is like a common area. So can you draw a little bit? Yeah. If you need a paper, raise your hand. I have a paper. Yeah, if you need a paper, yeah. So I will give you. And if you, yeah, so here you go. Yeah, you will kind of go down. So if you need a paper, you can kind of write down and draw, kind of describe who you are as a real self right now. And I have a dream, your ideal self. Okay? I realize you really like to draw in this class and you have such a good drawing skill. So it's okay. It's going to be a good feeling. Draw and mark and express your feeling and your idea. Okay? So I will show one more time just in case. I will real self and ideal self. Okay? Yeah, anything you can include there as a personality and any like a job situation or maybe your health situation, anything. Maybe real self, I'm very shy and I'm very lazy, but maybe ideal self will be funny. I want to be funny, humorous, and yourself will be more diligent. Yeah, you can kind of say, yeah. Or maybe it's exactly the same circle. You don't need to show to me, so that's good, right? So just to be honest and kind of express your feeling freely, okay? You don't need to give me back your paper. Yeah, we are so busy and we don't have much time to think about who we are. But I guess, learning this personality chapter, you just kind of recheck, who I am, personality-wise, what I really want to do, versus maybe I'm struggling right now. Dear me versus ideal me. Okay, so if you're done and willing to share, you can kind of talk together who is next to you and showing your circle, if it is okay with you. Okay, I'm gonna give you one more minute, yeah, and then we can kind of share together a little bit and then go to the next topic, yeah. So I will give you one more minute. Okay, so we can talk now. Anybody, my circle is pretty like a matching together. Real me, yeah, versus ideal me. Anybody? Pretty much like a very similar, my circle wise. This one is pretty further, but I have a common area, but pretty much like the same. No one? How about pretty further each other? My circle is right here, real my circle, real me, and maybe ideal me is right here. Kind of not much like a between area. Okay, good. Thank you for your honesty. So based on this humanistic perspective, kind of our personality, how people other view and react toward our us, all the doing and maybe behaving and thinking. Incongruence, which is like a mismatch, kind of opposite. My one circle is here and the other was here. You may suffer some anxiety, maybe unhappiness, and even like a depression. So possibility, because you really want to be as an ideal you, but right now you're more like a real you. It's really further from your ideal you, right? So it can be possible. And congruence means it's a match between real self and ideal self, which is like happiness is coming, more like a confidence is coming. So kind of matching and mental wellness. That's his theory. So guess what? They got also criticism too. So kind of reminds you all the theory and theorists later on, they got some critics. But let's focusing on their strengths and their theory because it's really well-known theory too. Criticism will be it's too optimistic and naive and not much scientific enough. It's too optimistic. Humanistic people, humanism people, like a perspective, you're too optimistic. So that's kind of one of the critics. So let's go to the next one. So next one is behavior theories of personality, behaviorism. Do you remember classical conditioning, operant conditioning? I know some of you wrote a reflection paper. The topic was classical conditioning about your puppy and cat and your those pet. right? Yeah. So behaviorism, behavioristic theories of personality. How do they interpret personality development from their lens? So their perspective is really focusing on something tangible, observable behavior. It makes sense. So for them, personality is really challenging topic because personality we do not see much. I mean, we can kind of, behavior is there, but usually it's a constantly kind of happening person's thought and feelings and also behavior. So they do not think about, how can we say that person's personality without seeing, without touching it? Yeah. So feeling part and thinking part, they cannot get it. They do not understand. So kind of showing as your behavior, maybe habit, somebody else's habit. Yeah, maybe kindness can be a habit too, right? Maybe that's a habit. That's we want to say personality. Somebody's really anxious, maybe shaking their hands, and whenever they present in front of people, shaking their body. Maybe it can be a habit, developing those behavior like a habit, but they kind of say, oh, that's a personality. So instead of looking at inside their feeling and their thoughts, they more focusing on behavior and they kind of analyze that as a personality. Those are behaviorism and behavior theory of a personality. So here, let's talk about that little boy. So Thomas, I will give you assignment right here. So Thomas, 8-year-old, third grader, doesn't want to go to school. What should we do as a behavioristic perspective? Is there any good way we can persuade him to go to school? So talk together who is next to you. What would be like a good solution? 8-year-old the boy, he refused to go to school. There should be a certain way, behaviorism. Reinforcement. Do you remember reinforcement? Yeah. And also punishment too. So talk together who is next to you. What would be your good solution? Let him be into the school. Yeah? Refusing not to go to school. How can we change his behavior to go to school? So talk together who is next to you. Okay? Yeah. So be creative. I know we learned so many theories right now, yeah, and behaviorism, like a whole chapter. Chapter 6 was really focusing on the behaviorism, right? And there's some reward going on and punishment going on and try to change somebody else's behavior, right? Yeah. So anybody, good suggestion? How can we make him to go to school? Please, yes, Gabe.
Take his favorite subject and give an example out of it. So if he likes animals, tell him he has to go to school to learn how to go and see those animals. I guess would be a good way of doing it.
Okay. Try to bring some interesting kind of subject and go to the school. Okay, very good. Would you like to add on that? Yeah.
I take my younger brother to school, and anytime he doesn't want to go, I'm just like, oh, you don't want to be dumb, do you? You want to be smart. You want to know things, and he's like, yeah. Okay, well, you also want to see your friends, and he's like, yeah. So that's probably what I would do. Just
Okay. Yes, very good. Like, if you go to school, you will become smarter. Yeah, which is good. And you will be more knowledgeable about this world. And also, if you go to school, you have your friends there, so you can play with them. That's really good. It's from your experience, right? Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anybody? Different strategy? Be creative. It's okay. There's no wrong and right answer. Yeah? Would you like to share with us? Abigail? No? How about Kim? Would you like to share anything? No, not particularly. How about over there? Carson and Dominic and Joy. Any solution? How can we make this third grade boy go to school?
Some sort of positive reinforcement rather than negative is what we came up with. We didn't figure out what though.
Okay, yeah. How about if you go to school today, I'm gonna give you one candy. Maybe one chocolate bar? It's your favorite chocolate bar? So please go into the building. Yeah? Yeah? Maybe your favorite toy. Maybe favorite sticker. And if you go inside, I'm gonna give it to you when you come back. Or maybe when you go in. Yeah? How about any punishment? If you do not go to the school, yeah, you cannot play game, those computer game for today. Only you can play when you go to school. So try to thinking about behaviorism and behavior assessment. They really focusing on changing somebody else's behavior using those reinforcement and punishment. Giving some candy or maybe giving some bad thing. Maybe I'm gonna spank you. Yeah. So if you do not go to school, yeah. So try to change and do not consider not much about inside of that person. Maybe the situation. Do not consider much about the situation. What if the boy, their dad is right there, just went through parents divorced? Yeah, they just kind of maybe just divorced, and he really miss his mom a lot, and doesn't want to go to school, doesn't want to do anything else. So in that sense, we need to consider his situation and his cognition and his feeling. So you need to comfort his feeling. Sweetie, I understand you miss your mom, but school you need to go. So we can approach it a little differently, but behaviorism and behaviorist perspective, they really want to focusing on how can we change that boy's behavior and get into the school. So using those treat, candy, chocolate, or maybe some, spanking and some punishment, maybe we need to get into that, change his behavior into the building. So I just kind of maybe emphasize maybe too much, but I guess that's kind of more perspective. Yeah, more focusing on changing their behavior, not considering their thought, maybe feeling much. Okay, so let's go. This is like another social cognitive theories of personality, Bandura. Bandura is really well-known scholar. Do you still remember the Bobo-doll experiment? Observational learning. Those are inflatable, those Bobo-doll, and try to kick and punching as an adult. And you kind of show that as a model. And then later on, a boy tried to kicking the punching those Bobo dolls just like this, right? Observing somebody else's behavior and do the same thing. So Bandura, he kind of put a very well-known theory, reciprocal determinism. So reciprocal determinism is we do influence a lot from outside, our environment. Let's say you live in neighborhood. Those neighborhood kids are not that good. They are really bad, kids doing all the delinquent behavior, drinking alcohol and maybe harm other people and kicking some, public some object like a stop sign, and they kind of destroy. Yeah. So your environment, your neighborhood kids, they really engage in some delinquent behavior. How about your behavior? If you live in the neighborhood, can you guess? Can you hypothesize? Maybe your behavior will be similar, just like them? Who do you think? I think maybe I got influence from them, like environmental-wise, because I do live in that environment, so I become more delinquent. Possibility is there. Yeah, possibility is there, yeah. But we don't want to say we got influenced and observing somebody else's delinquent behavior, we just become delinquent. No. Why? Because we have our own thoughts, our own making a decision. Those are our, unique thought and cognition will kind of change. I know you live in maybe delinquent, maybe not that good neighborhood, and you may experience and maybe influence your behavior too. You may show here and there a little bit more, but who will make a decision will be just you. You will make a decision. This is not right things to do. I know my friends, my neighborhood kids are all kind of involving any delinquent, violent behavior, but I decide not to do it. I decide not to do it, and I'm going to keep my, study hard and working hard, and I want to kind of choose a different path. Those are your cognition and your thoughts, right? So when you're thinking about observation, and also observation and learning, we need to consider not only environment, and also you are the person who will make a decision. So those are social cognitive theories of personality. And underline, self-efficacy, those are really important concepts from Bandura. One's beliefs about one's capabilities. Do you have a high self-efficacy, which means no matter what, if I put more effort, I will get it. Yeah, maybe this time I didn't get much because I didn't put not much for the exam 3. But exam 4, for sure, this Friday, I can get much better score because I know my ability. I can get rich. Yeah. Anybody? I think I pretty much have high self-efficacy, kind of capability, doability. I can do it, yeah, with my efforts. Yeah, those are really important concepts. Okay. So finally we are here. MBTI, Myers-Briggs type indicator. So Myers and Briggs, those are person's name, and type indicator, we say MBTI. It's based on the Jung's theory of personality types. So I know several of you already did it, yeah, through those website. Raise your hand if you already did it. Okay, thank you. Almost like more than half of you. So today is the day we can do more like a shortened version with me. Yeah, and then we will see, is it like a same result or maybe different result? Okay, ready? So if you have a paper, it doesn't need to be like this huge paper, but I will show like this. So this is like a paper, and you can make a little kind of tiny square. I always confuse between square and rectangle. So can you make the square? Yeah, maybe any paper. Yeah, on your paper, can you make a square like this? And then divide by 4 area. So I will show as a demonstration. Yeah. So it doesn't need to be like a huge one, but for you, I'm gonna do it. So making a big square. Here you go, right? Yeah. So anywhere, it doesn't need to be like a whole thing, like a tiny thing just for yourself. Yeah. So the first area, I know half of you went through it, right? And how long does it take, usually? Gabe, how long did it take for you? 10 minutes? Yeah, because honestly, there are about 100 questions, right? So it will take 10 minutes, but it's worth it because the website is really well organized and give you the maybe interpretation, maybe some suggestions for your jobs. And so Gabe, since you did it, do you feel like I kind of agree with my MBTI, those results? Do you? Yeah, kind of you see? Yeah. Pretty, yeah. Anybody, you did it? Raise your hand one more time. Okay, Avram, you feel like, is it kind of you agree with your MBTI? Do you agree with it? How about Carson? Do you agree with it? Pretty much it's accurate? Yeah. How about Dominic? Is it pretty much? How about Ayla? Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do one more kind of, because maybe we can kind of, analyze one more time. So here, kind of putting that area. The first one is introversion versus extroversion. Maybe you can describe it. This one is easy. There are lots of questions they're going to ask you. You're more like an introverted person, maybe more outgoing and extroverted person. So you can write down here. If you're more like an introversion, you can put I, yeah, more kind of shy person, yeah, your personality, you can put I. But if you're like a more outgoing, like a social butterfly, you can put the E. Can you do that? Yeah? So I have one more suggestion. I know I want to say maybe I'm kind of extroverted, more like a toward. If you're kind of introversion and maybe extroversion, I want to choose the E. But honestly, do you remember? Dr. Moon was a really, really extremely shy person when I was young, right? So probably deep in my heart, I feel comfortable maybe being alone, right? In that case, maybe mark the V on top. That means you're kind of borderline between extroversion versus introversion. In that case, can you mark on that, on top? Yeah. Okay. So here. So I want to put right here. Maybe I can be, I want to be more toward the extroverted, but kind of in the middle. I mean, it doesn't need to be marked here, but if you feel like kind of my borderline, I want to see either, depending on the situation, put the V right here. Okay, good. Okay, so next one is sensing versus intuition. Yeah, I brought my favorite fruit, apple today. How would you describe my apple? Anybody?
Sweet.
Sweet, yes.
Crunchy.
Crunchy, yes, crunch. Shiny, yes. How about the color? Red, yeah. Anything else? Well, how would you describe my apple?
Round.
Round, yes, round, yes.
Kind of flat.
Flat, yeah, kind of flat. Okay, good. Anybody? Yes, Abigail? Looks delicious. Yeah, good. Okay, so usually we kind of think in that way. Versus anybody, when you think about this apple, maybe you kind of connect with the Snow White. Yeah, maybe the Snow White bite that apple and then kind of fell asleep. And for a while, because of the sensation, kind of beyond the sensation. So if you're focusing on describing and try to perceive this word, just looking at your sensation, which is you do see, you do hear, you do touch, and you do taste, those are more like a sensing. Yeah, sensing person. And intuition person, they still like beyond the sensation. Maybe they imagine, like kind of looking at this apple, they imagine, oh, Snow White. Maybe, yeah, she ate that apple and then, like not died, but like fell asleep for a while because the poison. Yeah. So do you usually kind of interpret other things like not the sensation only, more like beyond the sensation? So in that case, you put the not I, put N, because you already had an introversion, and extroversion, so put the N. Yeah. So it's depending on you. So my case, maybe I'm going to put the S here. But I know some of you feel like I'm kind of between sensing and intuition. What do you need to do? Put the V mark on top. Put the V mark on top. Okay? Yeah, put the V mark. Okay. So third one, we can thinking about thinking versus feeling. Thinking versus feeling. So whenever you need to make a decision, sometimes you are really logically thinking and analytically kind of review those situations and then making a decision. Those are more like a thinking person. Yeah. Feeling is thinking about, more like a personalized level and understand the person's opinion and, try to fully understand, more like a subjectively try to maybe making a decision. In that case, maybe we can thinking about thinking versus feeling. Yeah, we don't have much time left, so we are going to keep doing this Thursday. Do you feel like this is kind of interesting? Yeah, so don't forget to bring this paper. Yeah, we are going to keep doing, other factors, thinking versus feeling, and perceiving versus like judging. Yeah, so if you haven't done those free personality tests, please do that. please do that. Because, this Thursday, after you finishing your personality test, anyway, you need to do it. It's a homework, it's an assignment, right? So when you finish it, and we can talk more about this topic. Okay, good? Yeah, awesome. Yes, good, good. Have a great day. Have a great day. Awesome. Thank you.